This is Euro 2024, but instead of the 24 actual teams, I've replaced them with 24 teams who have never qualified for the Euros. Then we're going to simulate the tournament and find out who wins. The Faroe Islands top Group A, after beating Montenegro 2-1 and just getting past Liechtenstein 4-3 with a 91st minute winner. A draw with Kosovo ensured that they won the group, and it secured Kosovo's second place, as they also beat Liechtenstein and drew with Montenegro. Montenegro will also qualify as one of the best third place teams after they thrashed Liechtenstein 4-0 to give them a healthy goal difference. Group B is topped by Bosnia, who won all 3 of their games with goals from Edin Dzeko, who just happened to score in all 3 of the group stage games. Kazakhstan surprised me as they beat Lithuania with a 93rd minute winner and eased past Gibraltar to finish second in the group on 6 points. Despite Lithuania being able to beat Gibraltar, they aren't one of the 4 best third place teams and won't be progressing into the knockout stages. Luxembourg top Group C, after just missing out on the real life Euros when they lost to Georgia in the playoffs. They got 7 points after a 2-2 draw with Azerbaijan, who scored their 2 goals in the final 10 minutes of the game. They've secured second place in the group following a 0-0 draw with Moldova, who are just able to qualify as one of the best third place teams thanks to battering San Marino 5-1. In Group D, Armenia are the winners after they beat Estonia and Andorra very convincingly, but do end up drawing with Latvia. Now, there aren't quite enough UEFA teams who have never qualified for a European Championships to have a full tournament. So there are a few teams who have only ever qualified once, and Latvia are one of those sides. They only made the tournament once in 2004 and they got knocked out in the group stage. But they only finished 3rd in the group as they lost to Estonia, who take 2nd place. But thanks to a big win over Andorra, Latvia are one of the 4 best third place teams to make the knockout stages. Group E is topped by Georgia, who technically haven't yet made their European Championships debut, as this summer will be their first Euros appearance. After beating Belarus and Malta, they draw with Cyprus, the Cypriots equalising in the 93rd minute to help them finish in 2nd place after they beat Malta comfortably 3-0, and then drew 0-0 with Belarus to pick up 5 points. Belarus's 2 draws weren't enough for them to qualify as one of the third place teams and so are knocked out. And finally in Group F, we have 4 teams who have all qualified once before for the European Championships. Finland, who qualified in 2020, topped the group on 6 points because they beat North Macedonia 2-1 with a 94th minute winner, so finish above them on head-to-head record. North Macedonia, who also only qualified in 2020, finish in 2nd place following wins over Northern Ireland and Iceland. But Northern Ireland, who qualified in 2016, managed to beat Finland thanks to a Stuart Dallas goal. A draw with Iceland also gives them enough points to qualify in 3rd place. And incredibly, it's Iceland who finish rock bottom of the group on just 1 point. So now we've gone from 24 teams down to the 16 who will compete in the knockout stages, where Bosnia are the only team to win all 3 of their group stage games, which surely makes them the favourites. But they've been given a very tough draw against Montenegro in what looks like is going to be the game of the round. I'm also planning on doing a few more videos just like this. For example, teams who didn't qualify for this year's European Championships, see how they could do. Or we take the teams from this year's European Championships, but make sure they can only use players who have 0 international caps. Also, if you have any ideas, please do let me know down in the comment section. It'd be great to see what you guys want to see. And to make sure you don't miss those videos, please subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you on board as we try to hit 200,000 over the European Championships. That would be absolutely incredible. So in the second round, Azerbaijan have to rely on extra time to beat the Faroe Islands in the 98th minute. Although the match stats were heavily in Azerbaijan's favour, so really they should have done the job in the 90 minutes. We also saw another 2-1 scoreline as Kosovo managed to get past Kazakhstan, despite having fewer shots across the 90 minutes than the Kazakhs. But in the game of the round, it's Montenegro who managed to sneak past Bosnia with another 2-1 win. After scoring in the 10th minute, Bosnia equalised 10 minutes later. But in the 90th minute, Montenegro scored a winner that sees them through to the quarterfinals. And trying not to sound like a broken record, but we have another 2-1 scoreline, as Northern Ireland come from behind to beat Luxembourg with goals from Shane Lavery and Connor Bradley, which sees them progress to the quarterfinals. But finally we have something different, as Cyprus beat Estonia 2-0 to comfortably progress to the next round. Moldova scored twice in extra time to beat Finland 4-2. Incredibly, the Finns were 2-0 up after 42 minutes, but Moldova brought the scores back to level terms and then accelerated past the Finns with a penalty and a goal from open play in the first period of extra time. Finland were unable to reply and so get knocked out. But Georgia just needed one goal to defeat Latvia and progress to the quarterfinals. And finally, we had a game go to penalties. It was a back and forth affair between Armenia and North Macedonia, as the game finished 2-2 after 90 minutes. Neither side could make a breakthrough in extra time, so the game had to go to penalties. And in the end, Erdal Rakip of Turkish side Antalyaspor had his penalty saved, which won the game for Armenia. Personally, I think the draw for the quarterfinals has been very kind for Cyprus and Montenegro, but the other two games are pretty tight and I don't know which way to call them. However, I have jinxed things as Moldova absolutely batters Cyprus 5-2 to become our first semi-finalists. Virgiliu Postolaki scored a hat-trick for Moldova, taking his tally up to 7 goals to be the tournament's joint top scorer. And if he can keep that form going, Moldova have a real chance of winning the European Championships. I didn't jinx Montenegro though, as they comfortably won their game 2-0 to become our second semi-finalists and my favourites for the title. Dion Charles missed a penalty for Northern Ireland, which means that Valon Berisha's goal in the 50th minute sends Kosovo through to the semi-finals, where they'll be joined by Georgia. George Mikautadze scored his 7th goal of the tournament, again to be the joint top scorer, to get things going, before Armenia equalised on the hour mark thanks to a poor pass from the keeper. But 75 minutes in, Armenia dropped down to 10 men following a red card, which allowed Georgia to pile on the pressure. Despite having a penalty save late on, the Georgians were able to score in the 118th minute to reach the semi-finals in extra time. Here, Moldova take on Montenegro, and I am going to be backing Montenegro for this one, and I reckon Georgia have got enough about them to be beating Kosovo. But in reality, it's Kosovo who beat Georgia 3-2. Although the scoreline looks very tight, Kosovo actually held a 2-0 lead up until the 81st minute when Georgia pulled one back. Kosovo then scored a 3rd goal in the 91st minute to pretty much wrap up the game, but Georgia were able to pull back another consolation goal in the 93rd minute to make things look a lot closer than they actually were. On the other hand, Moldova versus Montenegro ended in a 0-0 draw after 120 minutes. Despite Montenegro going down to 9 men, after Adam Marasic was sent off in the 68th minute for 2 yellow cards, and Stefan Lonkar was sent off for a straight red card in the 105th minute. In the penalty shootout, it looked like Montenegro would win, as Moldova missed their first penalty. But the tables would soon flip, as Montenegro missed their 3rd penalty, whilst Moldova scored to bring things back on level terms. Both sides kept scoring until Marko Vesovic missed his penalty for Montenegro, meaning that Moldova pick up the win and will take on Kosovo in the final. For me, heading into this game, I think that Kosovo have to be the favourites. But Moldova seem to be upsetting the odds at every single opportunity, so I'm not going to write them off. Maybe Moldova could pull off one last miracle. 2 minutes into the final, and Moldova were advancing forwards down the left-hand side, and it looked like Kosovo could deal with the cross. But a poor clearance fell straight to Motpan, who fired his shot into the roof of the net to give Moldova an early lead. But Kosovo were straight back on it, as they put a dangerous cross into the middle, but their header was denied by the crossbar. However, when they tried again, the referee spotted a handball from the Moldova defender and awarded Kosovo a penalty. Berisha stepped up and managed to score to get Kosovo back on level terms 10 minutes into the game. Things quietened down though until the 35th minute, when Kosovo were looking to bring the ball forwards, but got dispossessed in the midfield, and Moldova could pounce, threading a ball through to Nicolaescu, who slotted a shot under the keeper to give Moldova the lead. However, the VAR stepped in, saying Nicolaescu was fractionally offside and ruled out the goal. And then things went from bad to worse for Moldova, as Revenko was given a second yellow card, meaning Moldova will have to play the rest of the match with just 10 men. So at the break, although the scores are level, Kosovo look like they're the team to win. But Moldova aren't going to give up now, and early in the second half, they were able to fashion a decent chance, but just put their shot over the bar. However, the extra man for Kosovo was proving to be a handful, as Moldova just couldn't hold on to the ball and kept inviting pressure. Eventually, Kosovo broke down the left-hand side, and a bit of complacency in the Moldova back line allowed for them to snatch a second goal and the lead of the game. And as Moldova began to tire trying to defend with one less man, this allowed Kosovo more chances to shoot. But the keeper did a good job of making some solid saves. But he couldn't keep them out forever. In the 80th minute, following some neat short passing, a shot from distance caught out the keeper as Kosovo extend their lead and win the final 3-1 to win the European Championships, but only nations who have never qualified. And some who have qualified only once, but that doesn't quite sound so good in the title of the video. If you enjoyed this, there are plenty more coming soon. Make sure you leave your suggestions of what you want to see in the comment section and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss those videos. In the meantime, you can watch this one, where I've simulated the actual European Championships 100 times in Football Manager, so we can find out exactly what's going to happen based on the law of averages in the real life tournament this summer. And I have to say, some of the results really shocked me. So make sure you go and watch this video to find out exactly who's going to win the European Championships this summer.